Good afternoon, YouTubers. This is Margarita, and I'm gonna go into episode 3. I know I skipped a little bit of this build. I apologize for that, but it's finally done. It's up and running, and oh, am I so grateful. Doing upgrades and builds is, it can be very trying. It's a lot of work. I give credit to reefers out there who, get into doing the upgrade process or even getting a new tank and setting it up. I mean, the most beautiful part of doing reefing is doing the setup and doing it, but when it's all said and done, it's a lot of work. You're tired, and people don't talk about that part, They just kind of talk about, what's going on and what's happening, and how they're doing this and how they're doing that, and what kind of equipment. And I'll get into that in a few minutes, because I do want to do a rundown of what I actually did for this tank. I recently upgraded from Innovative Marine 75 internal tank. And the reason I got the internal was because I was too impatient to wait the 2 months to get the external. I went from having a 37-gallon cube external tank and went to doing the internal. And to be honest with you, like, if you had to weigh between the two, I think, the internal was actually, some people said it was better, and I think in a way it was. It was a lot less plumbing. Once I got accustomed to, doing the internal, flow and stuff like that, I kind of had it nailed down to a T, of what I needed to do and what I didn't need to do. It was funny because when I did go back to, this tank is an external tank, I did run into some trouble because I hadn't done an external tank in a while. So it was, the overflow box, and it was making noise, and I did run into quite a few hiccups with this tank. The first was the stand, which Innovative Marine is great. They are my top company. I will not say otherwise. When you compare them to Waterbox and Red Sea, the Red Sea and Waterbox can be pricey, but they were companies that you had to buy the set. And the set really includes, what do they call those, like a plywood type of stand, and Innovative Marine has the aluminum stands, which are a lot better. And I do not doubt that the stand wouldn't have held this tank. But it wound up, it was a dent in one piece, they replaced it, then a latch was not working properly, so they replaced that. And there was a couple of things that when it came down to the stand, that it wound up I was waiting about 6 weeks. Now, was Innovative Marine, on top of it all? Of course they were, because they were Innovative Marine. And like I said, their tanks are gorgeous. I would never ever, when it's time to buy a tank, it's Innovative Marine all the way. What happened was I wound up building my own stand, because I was accustomed to the stand I had with the 75-gallon. I took a lot of care in making that stand. It was really overbuilt. The amount of wood I used, and then on the bottom I had put a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, and I sealed it inside. It was painted white, because if I had to go with the Innovative Marine stand, that's the one I actually picked, was the white stand. I like the look. Their stands are beautiful, once they're put together. But I was not comfortable. My husband more so was not comfortable with, because the 75, when I had to move it out to put this in its place and start the process of, cycling and everything else and doing the piping, my husband said, he goes, if we ever have to move that tank with the aluminum stand, he goes, you're not going to have the flexibility you have with the stand that you built. Because what I also did was I put on the bottom, there's furniture grade feet, and I don't know if you could see them, and they, I could actually level the stand with them. I could literally go right underneath with a wrench and level the stand, which on the 75 it worked out great. Even with this one, even with the tank full, I was able to go underneath. Once it was full, I let it settle for a couple of days, and I went right underneath with the wrench and leveled it out with the level. And if I emptied it 3/4 of the way or halfway, you could slide it out, and that's what I wanted. I wanted something, and then inside, I wanted something because I could be very sloppy, unfortunately, I could, drip and whatever. I mean, I mimic the stand to be, hold on, hold this. It is very much like with the side doors, like Innovative Marine. It's just made out of wood, and I took the time to make it myself. Excuse me. Now as far as what I'm running on the tank, I'm running the Jabal 10,000 for the main line to go into, the return. And then I have the Jabal 5,000, which runs into the UV, which I put up here because I saw a friend of mine had placed it up there. And mine on the last tank happened to be in the back, which kind of made it stick out a little bit more from the wall, which I didn't want. And you know what, if something had happened with the UV, I mean, I could have got the bulb out in the sleeve, but I might have had to slide the tank out just to kind of do what I had to do. I have the Aquamax Q2 skimmer, the Cone S. I love it. I did a lot of my purchasing during, and I'll suggest this to any reefer, if you're going to do anything further, I bought the tank in November. So I had caught a sale, it was 40% off, so I got a phenomenal deal. It came with the stand. Unfortunately, I never wound up using the stand, but that's okay. Like I said, there were so many hiccups. By the time I got done with all the hiccups, that and then what my husband said, I just said, you know what, I'm going to make a stand, and that's it. And because I had made one previously, I knew exactly what I needed to do, and it was done. The only thing I will say I did this time around differently was on my last stand, I intended on putting doors, and I didn't. I eventually, because I was so tired from the build, like I said in the beginning of this video, is that it's tiring. By the time you get done doing a build, it's tiring. And, what happened with the 75 gallon was I had the 37 gallon cube, and then I also had a Peninsula Mini 25. And I combined the two and put it into the 75. Now, don't forget the internal tank has, the plumbing inside the tank. So there's a good, I believe, 12 inches or so, or maybe a little more, of the back that sticks out into the tank, which takes away like 5 inches of the tank. And then on the sides, I believe there's 2 inches of space that's taken away. But when I combined the two tanks, it was like as if, like it was packed. It was like, between that and the little bit of corals I had, on frag racks on the side of the tank, it just filled up so quickly, and that's what made me, so by the time November came around and I saw that sale, I said, I'm jumping on it. And I'm glad I did. There was, like I said, a lot of hiccups. I got tired through the way. It took me, one thing I gotta say in this hobby is learn patience, because I like to jump into everything so quickly and get everything done, and I want this and I want that, and but it was my daughter who finally turned around and said, "You know what, Ma, slow down. Just slow down and take it easy. Like, you're trying to get this up and running, and the way you want it, and you're making yourself crazy." And you know what? When I finally slowed down and I finally relaxed a little bit, that's when it all started coming together. It's like anything else, and the transfer came out well. Oh, I'm sorry, almost dropped you guys. The transfer came out well. What I did was, I'll tell you what I did for my transfer. Um, I set up the tank as if it was new. I moved over a couple of pieces of rock from my sump, a piece of marine pure block. I did put in a few pieces of new rock, new sand, and I let it cycle for about 3 weeks. Once the ammonia and the nitrites were zero, I wound up, that was it. I transferred everything. I took out half the water out of the tank. I took my 75-gallon, because it was pretty much in the middle of my limit. It was right in front of the 100-gallon, so it really wasn't too far. I moved the rock over first. Then I filled it up with the water. I transferred the water from one tank to another. That was the easy part. And I am going to say it was the easy part. And I anticipated corals falling everywhere. And, me knocking them down. But somehow, by the grace of God, it didn't happen. I was able, I had help from my husband, and I was able to, move the rock without popping off too many corals. And then the hard part was the lights. Getting the lights, because this time around, I'm doing the hanging kit with the Radion rail. I have 3 Radion XR15s, the Pros, the Gen 5s. I wound up picking up this picture in Marshall's. I love it. To me, it looks like it's an extension of the tank. It's like the sky and, the water's underneath it. But I did it because I used to have these arm mounts that I had made myself. But it took away the bulk look of that. As you go along in this hobby, you learn so many things and you do so many different things. And, but now I only have 2 Reef Bright XHOs for the Radion XR15s. But, so I turned them sideways, but now I'm looking at them and I'm not really liking the look. And they're not really giving the coverage that it was giving on the 75-gallon. Because the 75-gallon, I only had 2 Radions in there. And again, I'm going to say, because the Black Friday deals, I got the pump, the 10,000 pump, great price. I got the UV for half price. I got the skimmer for almost half price. And I got the Radiant for, I think, $200 brand new on BRS. That was because I had some reward points. But, I mean, you got to know when to shop, and you got to know how to shop. This hobby can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. And I have 2 dosing pumps, again, the Jabal. A lot of people say, oh, you got to go this, you got to go that, you got to spend the money, you got to do that. Money is money, money is money. They last. I've had these for like 3 years and they're still lasting. So why I gotta spend $400 for a dosing machine? I don't have to. When time it breaks, I'll buy another one. $70. It is what it is. And I'm doing a video. Can you shut up? So, I mean, all in all, I apologize for the dogs. I have a few. Um, but all in all, it wound up working out well. The transfer went great. Uh, I know the tank looks great. I mean, I'm sitting here now going back and forth, trying to figure out if I want the AI blades, but which AI blade do I want as a supplemental light? Do I want the blue, or do I want do I want the grow, or I want the glow? And then I'm also looking at the off LED bars, but I went into a store and I looked at them, and they're not like a single bar does not, to me, I don't see it bouncing off enough, not like these Reef Brights did. Um, Probably somebody would say to me, "Yeah, save money and just, get another Reef Bright XHO and turn it back around," but I don't know. I kind of like the blades. I'm big on radians and aqua illumination. I love both. I mean, now they're one company, but I started out with aqua illumination, and I went to the radians, and I love them both. And so I want to kind of combine the two. I just I'm hoping at Reefapalooza that I will, they say they will be there, and hopefully they'll have like a demonstration where I can kind of get a gist of which one I want. And when you ask people, they go, "Oh, what's what your particular aesthetic you want?" I mean, I want the best of both worlds. I want something that's going to give me coral growth, and then I want something that's going to look good on the tank and give me the pop. My thing is I got the Radium Pros, so I think I could already get the pop with the Pros. I mean, with the right settings, and then just do the grow so I can get the growth as well. If anybody has got an opinion on that, or is using them, or has been using them, please put your input. I would love to know. But as far as things are going, that's, I mean, everything's going great. I mean, give you a little bit of the tank. I got my neon cabbage here. I love this coral. Absolutely love it. My Zoa garden. I have my triple head hammer, my neon hammer. I don't spend a lot for corals either. I got this at a live sale from Unique Corals, $40. I got these two. I had Scolies. This one got eaten a little bit by my meat coral. He got a little bit too close, and he just destroyed the edges on it, and I am so mad. This leather coral, I got this. It was a little piece on a plug, and it's humongous now. I got another Zoa garden here. I got a bunch of torches. I love my torches. My Parvona coral, that was a little rinky-dink, and that grew. I put in a few sticks now. I'm hoping to see where they're gonna go. Because I want to start growing acros, and this is another one of my favorites, my blue sponge. This coral is like fantastic. It started out so small. I mean, literally so small from a live sale, and not anymore. And then I have this. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's my bicolor favia, which is wrapping around the rock exactly the way I want it to. My red setosa. I don't know which way that's going. I got a bunch of miscellaneous, a lot of LPS and softies. I like, hammer corals. I got a huge chalice there. I got other chalices all over too. I got the Space Invader chalice. I got the Superman chalice, which is kind of growing slow. But, you know what? This has been a slow process. And, you know what? It is what it is. These ones are gorgeous. I mean, I don't know if you could appreciate the color, but they are, like, fantastic. But, you know, I hope people got something out of this video and, you know, what I talked about, you know, and not just, you know, oh, equipment and this and that, the other. It's, you know, the struggles we go through and how a little patience goes a long way, you know, and so hopefully I'll figure out what I need in reference to supplemental lighting. If anybody's got suggestions, please let me know. You know, again, I'm gonna say, you know, shoot me a message. I'd appreciate anybody's opinion. And, you know, talk to you guys later. Bye.